We're not talking about bar hopping buds. We're talking about valuable lifelong connections. Hey my babies, it's your girl adorekristiana back with another video. If you're new here, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, as always, thank you so much for tuning in and sticking around for another video. Today is a video close to my heart. It's played a big part in my life this past year in 2023. We are going to break down the steps to making valuable connections in 2024. But before we hop into it, if you are not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and make sure you tap the bell right beside it so that you can be notified every time I upload another video. And if this video is exactly what you've been looking for, smash that like button for me right now. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, my love, so before I get into it, let me just give you a little backstory of me and my experience with friends, or lack thereof. Okay, when I was younger, I did have friends. Elementary school, sleepovers, school events, parents would take us out. You know, I had friends. But of course, as you get older, it becomes more of your responsibility to uphold those friendships rather than our parents. So fast forward from elementary school, we get to middle school. At this point, everyone kind of feels like they're grown and we're more mature. I just started to see through those who were not. At that point, I did become a little bit more distant, and I kept things at an acquaintance level simply because I felt like I was a little bit ahead and I couldn't find anyone who really related to me and could understand me in the way that my mind worked. By high school, when everyone really thinks they know it all, it just became clear to me that I'm not going to find a best friend or true friend at this stage of my life. But I will say, in observing the bad apples back in high school, it did steer me away from giving the people that would have been good for me a chance. I recognize that now, years later. It was almost as if I let the people that couldn't relate to me deter me from opening up to people who could have been good for me. I let myself feed into my social anxiety and use those bad apples as an excuse to not open up and try and build connections with people who could have been of value in my life at that time. Now, at the age of 24, I've reached my cap of growth. The one thing that could take it to the next level is having community, having valuable connections with other people. Now I have true friends with beautiful souls and nothing but honest intentions, and I'm going to share with you exactly how I found them. When the time comes that you decide that you want friends who add to your life and do not take away, the first thing you need to do is find your prospects. Go out to places that suit you and your interests. Are you athletic? Are you creative? Things like that. You want to find classes of those sorts and go attend them. This way you can be around people who obviously have similar interests to you because they're taking the class as well. And I know a lot of us don't want to do classes like that for an extended period of time. Maybe you just want to do it just to switch things up or for the purpose of making friends specifically. My suggestion for that would be to find free trials that are being offered. Someone actually mentioned this to me as far as the gym goes and finding friends who also are into fitness. But I feel like this can apply to anything because there are a lot of free things out here that are being offered, and we just have to look for them and be open to the idea of attending a class in the first place. So yes, you want to go to places that suit you. Are you a coffee lover? Do you love to read books? Go to a coffee shop, go to the bookstore. This way you're already in a place where there's people who you could connect with just based on that interest. But to be frank, we are in 2024, so the most accessible way to meet people who are like-minded and maybe have similar interests is social media. Use it, but you have to use it with an observant eye. You don't just want to start aimlessly choosing people you think are cool or have a certain aesthetic about them, or maybe have something that you want. You can't be selfish about it. If you're looking for true connections with people, you have to sift through their interests and look at their posts to evaluate that. What is it that they like? What are their priorities? Take an audit of what they post day to day. A great way to do this is to watch their stories. This can just start naturally just by the people that you already follow, but it's good to just make a search of something that you're interested in, like doing nails. Maybe you like to write. Look these things up in the search bar on Instagram and see who's posting about those things. Then you can follow them and start to see their day-to-day through their stories, and weekly you'll see the kinds of things that they post, and this is how you'll slowly really start to see who is a good match for you. Some of the main things that you do want to pay attention to while you're taking an audit on potential prospects: similar beliefs. Do they post about God, about being responsible, or being a hard worker? Or do they post about drama and tea, things that are very unproductive? You have to make sure that they are aligned with you. So this is a great place to start. The way that they speak, the way that they act, the things that they use to represent them on their social media platform. Do they post about their business, family? Do they make personal posts about themselves? Or do they mostly just post about things that stray away from them and their personal life? These are little things that you want to pay attention to, because this will let you know if they are more of an open person who you could potentially break down, really get to know to the core, or if they are a little bit drawn in as far as creating a friendship. Once you take notice of what their interests are, what their values are, then you can compare that to you in order to determine whether they are a good match for you. Something to keep in mind when you are making these searches pertaining to your interest: location. If you are open to traveling, that's awesome. You guys could link up as you go around on your excursions. But if you want to keep it local, make sure you keep in mind that you want to find local people that you can potentially create a bond with. This way you're able to link up locally and not have to necessarily worry about having a long distance friendship. You have some people in mind that you think you could really hit it off with. The next step is initiation. This is the part where you have to get a little bit vulnerable. It might start to feel a little bit datey and a little bit court-like, as if you're trying to court these people. But at the end of the day, relationships are relationships. That goes for romantic and platonic. So if we want to make connections and have relationships with new people, we have to get vulnerable and reach out. Okay, this is the initiation process. My piece of advice for initiation can go for in-person or social media interactions. You want to pay people comments or compliments that could lead to a further conversation. If you are at a bookstore and you genuinely see someone reading a book that you love, go up to them, talk to them about it, make a comment about it. You're already in that setting because of the similar interests that you have with people. So you'll already have the upper hand in them exchanging in conversation based on that topic. This is your leverage. If you're into fitness and you're at a Pilates class, compliment them on their Pilates outfit. Ask them a question about Pilates. Have you been to Pilates before? Have you been to this studio? And keep the conversation going. The key to this is bringing and keeping the attention on the other person. People love when you notice things about them and give them the floor to talk more about themselves. No, it's not selfish or necessarily shallow. It is just part of human nature. So you want to use that to your advantage as well. And as far as social media goes, it really is the same thing. You're watching their stories often to get to know them that way to start off, but soon enough you can slide up and make a comment and let them know, hey, I actually love the way that you did that, or where did you get that? You can ask them for tips on something that they seem to have expertise in. Things like that could really generate a conversation on a similar interest that the both of you have. Once you initiate it in the right way that lets them know that you care about them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's something they do, something they said, something they wear, this can go a long way. But once you initiate, it's about continuing that conversation and letting them slowly but surely realize that you have interest in taking this further. But setting the tone of the conversation with something that you both enjoy will be the key to that conversation flowing naturally. This is not to say that you might approach someone or DM someone who isn't so open. This may happen. They may not reply at all, or if you're in person, they may kind of shrug you off and be distant. This is all part of the process, okay? And believe me, it is for your good. Take it as a confirmation that this person is not meant to be in your life, and keep it pushing. Everyone is not going to be receptive to you. Do not let it discourage you, because do you know how many people are on this earth? Do not let one person or even 5 come between you and the people that are meant to be a part of your life. And people might also turn out to be something other than what you've portrayed them or what they've portrayed themselves as if you found them on social media initially. I hate to break it to you, no shade to some people, but there are some who are not the same. Whether it's intentional or not, sometimes people are just different in person, or they're different when you try to get more personal. Just something to keep in mind during the initiation step. So here we are, best case scenario, we found prospects, we've initiated conversation. That conversation is flowing naturally. Now it's time to lend an invitation. You want to take this potential connection out of the initial setting, out of the messages, and into your real life. Use your common interests again to your advantage. Maybe you are already in a setting where you two share a common interest. Try and find additional things to get away from that first setting, to explore each other more. And if you are communicating through messages, use your common interest as a means to getting together. I'm gonna just keep using fitness or Pilates as an example. You're already at Pilates, you realize the person that you're speaking to has a coffee tumbler, or maybe in the flow of conversation they mention that they like to go to a particular coffee shop after Pilates, or maybe they have on a particular piece of jewelry or something that catches your eye. That is another conversation starter, but also something that you guys could do together outside of the initial setting or outside of the messages. You want to use those common grounds as a basis for going out together. Pick an activity that you clearly both enjoy. Maybe you find out that you're both really into fashion. Y'all can go take pictures together and help style each other for the shoot. You could both be into nature. Maybe you go and have a picnic and write in your journal. Things like that are such a simple way to build a bond and to further extend a connection that could be true. For me, I love all things hair, fashion, and beauty, but I also love nature and self-empowerment. You do want to keep in mind that people don't have to have every interest of yours as theirs. One or two common interests is a great way to start. You don't need one friend for everything. That's the beauty of it. You can have particular friends for particular things. Everyone isn't going to be your everything friend, although having an everything friend is possible. That's where best friends come in. Just hone in on the things that you guys have in common. Once they have accepted the invitation, it is finally time for the trial. You guys are going to get together and see how you mesh. This is the trial for a reason. You want to be open to testing out the vibe, anything new that this person might show you, teach you, even as far as energy goes or perspectives on life. Be open to a new personality, a new way of thinking, maybe trying things a different way. If you guys are doing things that you both have interest in, you might have your way and they might have theirs, but this is a great opportunity for you to step outside of the box and try something new, just as you are trying out a new person. But you also want to recognize when things are not going the best. Don't allow someone to make you feel uncomfortable or do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing, because at the end of the day, you did your due diligence by making it this far in the process. But it's also up to them to uphold it and treat it with respect, and not anything that is going to deter you from potentially meeting again. But if it's not working, it's just simply not working. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't even have to shut it down off the rip, but just recognize when things aren't going the best. Maybe I'm not going to see this person again. Maybe if they reach out to me, I'm going to politely say, you know what, I think that was all for now. Do not go into it assuming that it will become a long-term friendship. Should you find yourself in the space with someone who is so open and positive, take advantage of that good energy. You want to ask questions. It doesn't have to be super sappy or sentimental, but ask the right questions that are actually going to help you get to know that person, what their childhood was like, what they like to do as a kid. Ask them about their passions and their goals in life, where they see themselves later down the line, what friendship means to them. This way you can gauge whether you guys are on the same page. Questions about the past and about their future is a great way to get to know somebody. This way you can gauge how open somebody is to talking about themselves, and also find out if they have any more interest in you by them asking you those same questions in return. Some people are open books while others are onions. You have to peel back their layers. For the right people, I'm an open book, and sometimes I expect other people to be the exact same way. Even if they aren't naturally that way, I expect that my open energy will make them feel more open, and that's not always the case. So if you're anything like me, give people a chance, but also be mindful of when people are very closed off and unwilling to share certain parts of their life that shouldn't be such a hassle to share. Ultimately, asking the right questions will help you determine whether you guys should get together again. Asking questions in general is just a great conversation starter, and like I said, if that person is showing the same interest in you that you have in them, you guys will have this back and forth of just endless conversation. Based on the way this first meeting goes, you may find yourself hanging out with that person again and again and again. You will soon realize that you guys have built a bond just based off having favor for one another and who they are. And this all starts with being transparent and being open with each other, like I mentioned earlier. Continue evaluating, and soon enough you might find, wow, this person is worth my time. This person uplifts me. This person makes me feel good when I'm around them. This person teaches me. This person lets me show my heart to them without judgment. Things like that mean a lot in a friendship. We're not talking about bar hopping buds. We're talking about valuable lifelong connections. This is why little things like that matter while you're making friends. Even with all the questions and evaluation in the world, the best thing that you could do is keep God at the head of this new union. Every time a new person is introduced into my life, I pray to either bring us closer or to break us apart. You want to talk to God and let him give you reassurance, confirmation on whether this person is meant to be in your path. Make sure you're prepared for the outcome when you say that prayer, because at the end of the day, he will let you know whether you need to be entertaining this person or you need to be moving on to the next prospect. You did it. You made a valuable connection. You've been vulnerable, open, you initiated, invited, and had a trial run. Now it's time to stay connected. Gaining friends is just like any other relationship, familial, romantic, platonic. It is all the same. We all have lives and we all tend to feel like we are in our own world day to day. The least that we could do is reach out to those new people that you've made connections with. Just see how their days go, if their week has went. Something reminds you of them, text them really quick and say, hey, just thinking of you. Little things like that go such a long way, and as long as you two are doing it from both ends and it's not one-sided, this will keep the friendship fresh and keep it alive. And outside of each of your busy schedules and living your daily lives, plan activities together. Now as a 24-year-old, I'm realizing how hard it is to keep up with my friends sometimes and for them to keep up with me as well. So to plan ahead and say, hey, let's go take this trip, let's go grab a bite. It doesn't have to be super extravagant, but plan things together, because another way to keep the friendship alive is to see each other and connect in person and replenish that bond that you guys have made. Okay, my babies, that's all I have to offer for today. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful in any way, smash that like button and make sure you subscribe if you have not already. Tap that bell button right beside subscribe so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. I love you babies so much, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.